Hello everyone, and welcome back to another 15 plus 10 video. Moscow? I think. Okay, so I can try to set up with the g6 or e6. I think it tends to be better with e6 when c3, b4, as it's the bishop's not running into this. But I think both are okay. With knight f6, I'm going to assume queen e2. I think I remember playing a game that started similarly. Knight f6, queen e2, a6, bishop a4, then e6 or b5. I don't think it makes too much difference. In some other lines, it's important to kick the bishop back early, but I don't think this is one of them. Okay, so a6 here. Takes, bishop takes, pawn push forward is not something important, I don't think. Okay. I think just b5 and then e6 and bishop b7. And just indirect pressure on the center. I believe it's how this is just usually played. Okay, bishop b7 or e6 first. I don't think it makes a difference. Maybe it does. d4. Which one do I want more? I mean, the other probably make important moves to be aware of. I don't think there's any difference. So let's just go with e6. Actually, no, bishop b7 or a4. I have to react to in some way. And I should have bishop b7 ready for that. So let's start here. And then a4 I can play queen b6. Maybe even c4, but that seems a bit off. Although there's no immediate threat from a4 because I'm counterattacking e4. So if there had been a4 and then they had an extra move to take, and then take on b5, I can take on e4. Okay, and then now I want e6. Then I'll go for bishop b7 and castling, although I don't have to castle so soon. It's also okay to put queen c7, and then I have ideas of taking here, and then with some sort of deflection on e4 I can... I'm not quite sure now. I'll start with bishop b7 because it's the move that's useful in most of the cases anyway. And then, if white plays rook b1, then I'll consider moving the queen, just because it's not nice to have the alignment. I may have looked at some lines similar to this, but I'm pretty much fired myself now. If I'm remembering now, with queen c7, you discourage knight b to d2 because c takes d4, c takes d4 drops the bishop. And of course, if you take back with the knight, that's against the whole point. Right. White plays a4, which is just a general kind of move you can play. Let's think. This one's a bit odd because if I take back and I take back with the bishop, I can just take on e4. So this would expose them to having to take back with the rook, which is a bit awkward, but of course it's not the end of the world or anything for them. The slightly annoying thing about having my knight here is that I can't do knight c6 b4 things after I capture. But it's not the end of the world. Honestly, I'm inclined to just castle at this point. Because takes, queen takes, well, rook has to take, and then I'm firing on this so many times. So let's calculate. Castles, a takes, rook takes, queen takes, I just take. So instead of queen takes, e5, but then bishop takes, at least. And then, yeah, and then if pawn takes back, takes, knight d5. I mean, I already have definite compensation just from doubling the pawn structure. And f3 is undefended if they take on b5. Okay, I'll just castle. So, I guess I could consider what pawn breaks I'm looking for now. d5, I guess, just gets met by e5. So, probably not that. And then e5. e5 is interesting. I think trading helps me in either way. And d5, I guess we end up in a closed white kind of position. And my knight, I think, is already done the c6 to d7 whole thing. I mean, if I get c4 in, then I think I just have the better queen side as I'm pressing forwards. Although b3, it's not so clear, I guess. Well, I'll be first to connect rooks, which is pleasant in any case. against d5. At the moment, I just loses a pawn. Even if it was supported by like rook d1, I don't think I'd be unhappy with it. e5 is definitely more of a concern. I think the thing with e5 though is that I can just, well, ignore it first of all, but also just knight d5. Well, sorry. So e5, knight d5. I think I'm happy with. And then with the knight on d5, similar to the knight on c6, I like the ideas of c takes knight b4. Here I may or may not go queen. If I had another turn, I might or might not go queen c7, just considering I do need that for the whole resource. Actually, no, I don't. If they take on b5, they're just undefending this. And queen c7 is defending e5. Now, one thing I found with playing c3 as white is that it's sometimes difficult to decide what to do with your b1 knight when your opponent doesn't just take c takes d and take back c takes d. As back, it's nice to just wait for this knight to come here, then take. And then this seems a bit misplaced. Okay. I mean, rook d1 is a normal move, but I think just queen c7 is natural here. Probably I'll try rook f to c8. So the idea for rook f to c8 is just pattern taking here, and then making this, and then this. Which is a long step plan, but it makes sense to me, at least. Okay, one downside is that the bishop on e7 is now undefended. So d5 e takes d, e takes d. e5 e takes attacks this, but then I can probably just play rook f to e8. So I feel like I'm somewhat taking over the initiative here, but I don't want to celebrate too early. Okay, let's think about knight a3, I suppose. But then just maybe I can take on e4. Knight c4. C takes, rook c8. That seems good, to be honest. Or even try to hang with knight b6. Okay, bishop d5. Well, certainly if I play e5 now, well, it's not threatening e5 yet because I have bishop takes f3. So maybe I'll try rook a to c8 instead. What if I try right now b takes a4, rook takes a4, b takes a4, rook takes a4, queen c6. That doesn't threaten because the bishop. h6. I'm in some danger with like queen d3, e5 ideas, but they're not too soon. Like hook here. Just make sure that doesn't blunder material. Well, in the least case, I have e5 and at d5. I don't think there's anything to worry about. But e5, my main idea would be to take the bishop, take the knight, queen takes, and then take. And I'm covering that lots of times. Bishop d5 always feels incorrect to me, but I'm never quite sure how to try to punish it, unfortunately. Okay, now knight a3, b4, I think is just good. b4, knight b1, c takes, and then knight's forced to take. I mean, it's not a huge accomplishment, but it's something. Well, okay. We see bishop d3, which let's think. Well, now the pressure on b5 is somewhat unbearable, so I feel like I probably have to resolve that. I think just playing c4 makes the most sense at this point. And then maybe just e5. Again, striking in the center. It's slightly annoying closing down things, but like it's not as if white even has more space than I do. Yeah. So yeah, unfortunately I ended up doing that. There may have been a better way. Okay, so d5 now renders to e5. Playing e5 myself. Oh, somewhat interesting, but there's a whole problem of this bishop being completely useless, and I would rather avoid that. So I think, well, this rook isn't doing much here, but I think I'll just leave it in reserve to go back to a8, as much as silly as that seems. I'll put this rook here to defend this, and then push e5. Or maybe not push e5. Very patient play, I suppose. I've given white a kind of free hand to do all of this all of those shenanigans. That I don't think I am much worse, if at all. e5 does feel like the right break to strive for there, because it keeps the white's pawn chain disjoint. Whereas if I did it the other way around, then the base of the chain is here and completely inaccessible. Now, it's a question of how I deploy these pieces. Good question if moving this knight means they can play e5. Let's just quickly check. Knight f8, e5, takes, and yeah, I don't have control over it. Can I play e5 myself? Yes, but I think I'll just start with putting the other rook back onto a8. And yeah, sure, this knight can go jumpy all over the place, but what is it actually doing? I think by the time it gets to here, I'll play g6 and put the bishop back here. Although it is kind of staring at this wall. Queen c6, anything? Queen c6, d5, e takes, knight takes. Well, I think that's good. And then, well, I should have done this before, actually. It's maybe a missed opportunity. If I go queen now, there's just this, but I suppose h6, d5 is more annoying than it seems. Queen c6, e5 was a problem, actually. I don't think I want to play h6 unless I have good reason to, otherwise it just becomes a hook. So if knight g3 happens, maybe I'll play h6, g5, or h6 for the bishop back. It's tricky. I feel like this is as good a time as any to play e5. Let's give up f5 though, which, well, I'm not too thrilled by, but I can have that with g6. It's gonna be, well, let's start with bishop f8. At least after e5, both our bishops are slightly out of play. Probably even I have an easier time of it getting back into the game. I suppose white might try to break with some sort of f4. Okay, so we do end up seeing d3. Okay, I might just play g6, but g6, okay. Probably this is a good time to devote some calculation to e5. d5, e5 I don't think is any problem at all. The g6 takes, e5, well, in any case I can just go knight d5. There's nothing to worry about. So g6, e5, d takes, Okay, try again. G6, E5. I can go knight D5 actually. There's no force on me. And the knight is really secure here. Honestly, I think I would even encourage E5, giving me more squares. Or something. Okay, let's go G6. I have tactical problems on like G6 to be worried about, I suppose. It's surprisingly only move 17 for such a tense position. Queen E3 is slightly annoying of an idea. More for the moment, well, probably Queen D2 is better to avoid the Knight G4 trick. So if we went for Queen E3, Bishop H6, there'd be Knight G4. Knight G4. Yeah, I actually probably should have thought of D5, E5, Knight E4, although I don't even like those kind of knight jumpy in things. Now it's covered way too many times. I think just... Okay, so... Yeah, my opponent does come up with the same thing as I was thinking of. I'm thinking now I might go for E5. Bring this bishop back around this way. And have this knight jump into here, maybe. Well, not dropping this knight, of course. And there's no way I'm dropping this knight because the knights are just convenient like that. Quick check. And then now I have some ideas of taking and then pressuring the e4 pawn. Okay, so that's a commitment to d5. Of course, if I go bishop g7, bishop h6, bishop h8, just h4, h5 is kind of scary, so I think I will not do that. h4, h5 is coming anyway, unfortunately, but it's okay. Bishop c8, not a good idea, because it disconnects the rooks. Pushing for f5 is somewhat interesting. How bad is meeting h4 with h5? I'm not sure. Okay, my time is unfortunately dipping a bit there. Just think, like here, nothing. Where do my pieces want to be? I think when I have the opportunity, I want that. Don't spend too much time. I think queen b6, set up something, and just pressure down the b file. Not quite satisfying. h6, knight g4, bishop takes, rook takes, h3, forces the knight back before I can push f5, which would have been... Actually, I can't push f5, that's covered 3,000 times. Okay, let's... This is quite annoying. Definitely the position looks like a close draw where white is better, for certain, but progress isn't so simple to make. Okay. Yeah, this was of course a concern. Although this wasn't preempted, this wasn't prepared with bishop h6, so I can play h5, and I think that's a good option. I may not think that later on, but I can't allow h5. I mean, I can't allow white to push h5. Maybe I could have, but I was certainly not comfortable with it. Okay, next, if white is very nice, I would go king here. Okay. This attacks my queen. Knight c5. I don't see any problem with b4 just takes. We have somehow both gotten down to a minute, which is relatively scary. I think getting this rook here and then this bishop here is a nice maneuver. Okay. I'll just defend this pawn one more time, but it seems a bit artificial. Is it pushing for f4? That seems unlikely. I think queen c7. I really have to speed up. Come if it might drop off a lot. There's no real reason to bring this bishop here unless something happens. If this gets pushed up to here, I have some concerns with the bishop coming to life. Oh, I should have maybe considered knight g4, just to track down a bishop pair. It's unfortunate I didn't think of that. Yeah, and then I'm stopped from doing that. I think that's up here. And the bishop can come round. Well, now all the squares are blocked off. But then it's tricky for white as well, like just to move at all. Like bishop c8, bishop d7 is comfortable to me, I don't think. Even if you're pushing for g4 here, I'm covering that enough. Okay, takes. Is okay. Just gonna... I don't want to spend too long on this, so I'm just gonna play bishop e7. Okay. Yeah. No, I probably shouldn't have forced the issue in this way. Because it's going to take forever to challenge the file repeatedly. That's annoying. But also I trade off all of their firepower. Queen c8, I think. Queen c8. So g4, queen c8. It takes, knight takes. And then queen c8 lets me just trade. I need something for the last one, I guess. I'm preparing rook g1, which, sure, certainly is a move. Okay, then I want this. Let's see. Rook here, bishop here, knight here. Looks good to me. One knight jumping into b3. Well, that doesn't really do anything. It's annoying. Yeah. And then, I mean, I think I like the knight coming to here, but even queen e2. I think maybe I just bring it back. It's annoying. Still have knight b3, I guess. Well, they played queen e2 anyway. It's not even like a deadly threat or anything. Just don't have time, gosh. Here with pressure on. Okay, I think bishop g7 now will make me more secure in the end. Queen f8 sort of things. And, I mean, I don't have to take. So, let's think. Or not think, as it were, because there is no time. I think I'll put the knight here. I have 1, 2, 3, 4 attackers, and they have 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders. So it'd be nice if I could tactically force them out of it somehow, but it's not really anything obvious for that. I mean, I guess this bishop coming b6 is one really funny idea, but I don't think it's worth anything. If I push for g5, that's not making a difference to me. I think would be. I'm thinking just rook b8 and then b4. Okay, I didn't care about this. Knight coming. I'm pushing for f4. Okay. Wait. This is dropping. It's about time to offer a draw, you know? Which was best? I think just taking on knight. Then this is on this. But then f4 has the threat of this. Why is this like this? Yeah, f4 is a good move now, I think. I think f4 I just sacrifice a pawn back. I really hope there wasn't a way for me to win a piece earlier. This looks like probably. No, I still have pressure on here. Yeah, so here I think I just sacrifice back. It's with a rook. Okay, I just trade the queens. Do I trade the queens? Yeah. Trade the queens and take on here. Can I take? Can I take? Problem is f5 and h5 both coming. I think I have to take, which is not something I want to do. I think bishop e5. I could even take it. No, that's too insane. Rook. I think. No, rook b6. Ugh. What a disaster. King here. e5 is... Oh, I don't like e5. e5, bishop takes. I don't mind this. I'll take back. e5. I guess everything trades. I don't think I'm losing material in any of these. Okay, so I want to take on b2. Or go king f7, rook g8. Okay. Of course I'm being attacked. I think just trade. If you take with the rook, I just shuffle over. It's not a big deal. Take with the bishop, that's not a problem, to be honest. Wow. And take with the bishop, yeah. Okay, here. Probably just, you don't want to do that though, which is definite. But then, what do you do? I think I want to just check. Okay, I take back. And I'm on this. I'm not on that. I'm taking here though. I think this is good for me. But I might just want to just track this down. Yeah. What's the idea? I mean, that's not a problem. Just take. Honestly, this is just a safer square to be on. Oh, it should make a difference if I just take c3 there. That's a good move, and I should have considered that more. I'll take. Yeah. Really nice would be to have some way to, okay, not drop the knight. What's this? Why is time so... I want to... Okay, I mean, I'm not in danger because of this, but... I should stop. I'll go here. I'd stop this pawn. I might just sacrifice this exchange. Good. Out the way. I think this is winning just because the 3,000 pawns something. Okay. Calm down, calm down. Rook. Don't push this one. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, push the other pawn. Now this knight coming here is good. I think I should take it here anyway. Check is just bring up. I'll just push this pawn and I think that's it. It's the fork. Oh gosh. I forgot how stressful rapid was. Wow. Yeah, I was definitely not doing well, like, some part. Let's just turn the engine off for now. So, yeah, this is all theory. Yeah. A4, rook e1, b7, yeah. Like, I think the opening went normally. And, yeah, I'm not quite sure how I should have reacted to bishop g5. I think I went okay. c4 is honestly a big decision, and I'm not sure if I handled that well. It's honestly kind of tricky. Maybe if I'd gone this rook here instead. So if you go rook here, bishop here, you can maybe push b4 because this is defended enough. But what is this doing? I'm not sure. It's also a bit fragile now because if you have e5, then you cut away at the base of the pawn chain. And they might all just fall. So like, I don't think I played particularly bad, but maybe the whole strategy I had was wrong. But then again, yeah, at this point I should have maybe played knight g4, and then I would have gotten the bishop pair. And there's no sacrifice or anything. Yeah, that was maybe a small miss. Yeah, this whole idea of just pushing g4 is very funny. This didn't really accomplish much, but it's all low time scrambling, unfortunately. These pawns on the queen side did win out in the end for me, which was nice. Yeah, g5 was definitely a blunder on my opponent's part. There were probably better ways to get the... Wait, I'm so silly. No? I thought I could retreat this and then this is trapped, but this is rook g3 and it's okay. But here, I suppose I could probably sacrificed here. I was worried about the bishop coming to life here, but honestly, much less important than this rook. Yeah. Rook b6 certainly would have been better. I didn't expect h takes immediately, I thought e5 first, but I think it just transposes. I think unfortunately for white, I think my pawns here are too strong, but maybe they would have a way out. I think, honestly, yeah. I played okay here. Well, here they had a chance with this. Actually, no. They take. It's fine. It's not fine. Okay, they could have done that. Oops. Yeah, they probably could have drawn this somehow. Here, though, I think I'm good. Oh. I mean, that's a very weird way to offer a draw. I don't quite buy that, I'll be honest. And unfortunately, if you don't have the time... Well, this did run on for a lot longer than the average game, I guess, but still. I mean, 95. 95 is the same though, because I would just take... Well, 95 maybe. What was the difference? Knight here, rook here... I'm still taking here... Oh. Check. Wow. I somehow missed that. And I was the one who played knight d1. Okay. Yeah. I guess after the winning of the pawn... Technically I'm not up a pawn here. Wow. It felt like it. Yeah, so at this point... Probably should have gone here or something, or here. This might have been the best way to discombobulate my opponent. I mean, that's just not really an attack. And f4 is just helping me. There's not really much difference between this and this, I guess. You don't want to take back with... Well, you can take back with a knight. Probably want to take back with a knight, actually, for knight f6 check. So, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. Yes, I maybe should have considered more, but I was, I don't know, trusting that this would work. Not necessarily trusting my opponent, but I don't think there's any reason it would be helpful for me. And just this, not... I don't think I want to allow that. Dragon-esque kind of attack. Oh yeah, I was a bit indecisive here. Just taking all this time for this, whereas... At this point, maybe I should have, like, just started going for this. Knight takes, rook takes... And then double. There's rook here. Like, why don't I have the time to go g4 here? I'm just busy trying to crash through on the queen side. Like, let's see. Yeah, you can't even play g4 here. It's not enough. It's like you would... it's even hard to suggest which way you want the rooks to be. I mean... Rook... You don't want the rook in front, but the rook here. Rook, rook, and then like even queen, or maybe queen here. Then you start pushing this one up the board. Okay, you want the queen at the back. Okay, so rook. But in any case, it's not pleasant for white. Definitely much more of concern than in the game, because in the game I guess I focused too much on keeping these together, with some worry that this would somehow become weak, but white doesn't really have any way of targeting this pawn. They've shifted everything to not target that pawn at this point. Was there a better way of handling this? Probably. Don't see it though. Yeah, this was slow. There might be some even argument, might even be some argument made of just going immediately here. And then rook b8, bishop c8, like, the queen's already here. Rather, you want the queen on b8 instead, I guess. I mean, it's hardly impossible to fix. And this was surprisingly secure until everything got traded and then took. That was somewhat funny. Here, certainly, white shouldn't push g5 because it's dropping here. Maybe just go king h2. And then, in my time panic, I would probably have just gone b4. b4 with a threat to take to bring in the rook, or you take and then I bring in the rook. Yeah, that was... I mean, this is a huge accumulation, but I think I would have stood up okay. Let's try g5. Well, g5 isn't helpful in any case, right? It's like, how should white have actually continued this? I think like the usual way is to somehow try to pressure h5, like somehow with the knight on g3. But it's not easy to get anything there. I suppose maybe if you've got this bishop to reinforce, then you can get this. It's tricky, honestly. I'm not sure. Or maybe you take first, and then you somehow get a knight to come. I mean, this is big progress, of course. So maybe this and then something like f4. That seems much more reasonable than what my opponent did. Yeah, I mean, of course I should compare this to the mainline way. See, how does it go? Let's see, bishop b5, a6, bishop a4, knight f6, castles, bishop b7, rook e1, b5, b3. Let's start with d6, why not? c3, castles, h3. So I had c5 and c4 in, so I guess I'd compare this to a Dragon. Knight a5, c2, c5, d4. I managed to get my knight, like, to c5. So through this way. So let's try queen c7, d5. Knight b7, knight b2 c4, knight f1, knight c5. Yeah. Which definitely has some comparison to the game. But a4 is already included, so I mean I really should have played a4 a lot sooner. Oh, b4. Yeah, why didn't my opponent go for b4 in the game? That might have been quite interesting. I think the opening phase went perfectly. Except taking like a good few minutes more than it probably should have. But I don't think I would change anything in this. Okay, maybe from after here on somewhere, but it's only move 12. Yeah. I guess I'll give this a computer analysis now. I'm hoping there weren't any really obvious blundered things, but there very well might have been in all the scrambling. Okay. I guess not too surprising for a graph. I did expect somewhere white equalizing again. Let's see. Okay, usual, just plus 0.1, plus 0.2. I was wrong in this. I thought this was good. It takes... It can't be queen takes b5, surely. No, queen takes b5 is good. Must have underestimated this somehow. So I'm just going to take here. Bishop takes, bishop takes. I somehow forgot the pin of this bishop. That's disappointing to miss. Yeah, so... Oops. That was bad. h6. Yeah, sure. C takes d as well. Is there any follow-up or just... No, I was just happy to play with the small center. That's... I mean, I wouldn't be so happy after, like, rook f8, knight c3. e4, yeah, that's fair. Okay, rook c1 then. This works? I'll do that, of course. Rook takes, bishop takes, knight. Not at all the kind of thing I've been thinking about, to be honest. Such is sacrificing a queen for that. I don't really believe in this, but maybe I'm mistaken about. I was mistaken about things like playing b takes a now. And b takes a here, rook takes a4, and rook f to b8. That's actually a nice approach. Like, it immediately starts opening a file and getting counterplay. Yeah. Then that seems a more sensible way than what happened in the game. The c4 was okay. I'm not sure how much I like it. h6, I thought the bishop just drops back. I mean, the reason I didn't do this is I thought this was just dropping. It's not, because I'm still attacking this, yes. Okay. I've got my own pressure, and then... So kicking the bishop, like, stops and frees up the knight again. It was quite logical. Yeah, probably h6 should have been... h6 should have been included sooner. I gave a brief thought to queen c6 here, but I think it... Yeah, it didn't work because of b5. Yeah, and this way might end up just being a bit better. I mean, not the end of the world or anything. Why didn't they start with bishop h6? I mean, I'm assuming my opponent... Oh. Knight e4 with the queen b6? So you did work. It's gonna be queen takes first, which... Yeah. But still. I'm glad this move was better than I thought it was. Still, time management, maybe something to work on. Yeah, I think this blocking with knight c5 was really nice to do, and bishop b3 just helped me. Knight h2 instead, helping 1g4, I guess. Yeah. I did just play queen b6, queen c7, which is... yeah. And yeah, knight g4 grabbing the bishop pair was a miss. a5. So a5. No, just a5 going for b4. I think. Yeah. And then if b takes, rook takes. The engine's being more efficient with the queenside counterplay. I wasn't sure what to take back with. I think in hindsight, taking back with the rook for the queenside counterplay probably was the thing that made the most sense. It's just way too focused on pawn structure. This one's just well defended. I really shouldn't worry about it. What are these knights going to do to attack it? This bishop is going to go here. We have easy defense. Like this, and then this knight. Yeah. You're too worried about that. Definitely, rook takes. The rook takes. I think rook takes because I want the bishop to stay here. It is interesting to me that black has an advantage here, but at this point I was just playing moves. What's the idea with the b1 though? It's not do anything to my eye. Knight b3, b4. I don't have to defend b4. So, okay, king h4, knight b3, knight h3. Takes. What? I didn't get this. What I did in the game I think makes sense. b4, c takes b, rook b8, knight d2, sorry, bishop d2, drops that. Okay, so queen d2. Oh. Yeah, so I guess white's timed down to too many things, so b4 can't be held on to, so without preparing it, it's just the fastest way to do it. Rook b8 is a good file for the rook in any case. Yeah, I tricked myself here, I guess. Like, even in the case where I just defend this, they just close down the king side and I have queenside counterplay. Yeah. So, shouldn't have actually. Oops. Shouldn't have actually taken him. It says I'm not worse, but. Yeah. I thought rook takes was more scary because. Keeps the queens on and it's still being attacked. Yeah, f5. Much scarier. And in fact, I was quite worried about f5 here. If I make some nothing move, maybe the other pawn, the engine does not care what. Well, engine just wants to get on with the counterplay. That's very fair. And somehow I thought this pawn coming here left this pawn somehow disappearing, but it doesn't at all. So I would have left this locked out. So this I should never have played this. I mean, rook d8 best, but it feels not good. Although, like, White really wants to play e5, I guess, or it's a very human move. The engine is just like, take on b2 already, which is very fair. Wow. I somehow didn't consider taking on the pawn. Probably still would have taken on the bishop. And now finally, at a loss to make any other bad moves, I do in fact take on b2. What's wrong with rook e2 just taking here? Nothing. Okay. I guess this is just a good endgame for me. I'm not sure if it's winning. Probably is, but with a lot of technique. And I guess, yeah, this, no. Probably learn like the proper technique to escort 2 pawns with a knight, but doesn't come up too often. I thought rook e6 check, then taking here. Rook b7 makes a lot more sense. I suppose this is winning. Some very vague hope for white there. But yeah, the pawns were just too far advanced. Probably c2 was a lot easier. But this was good enough. Thank you all for watching. Sorry about lack of uploads. I've been busy with university work and things. See you next time.